Friday safety focus of the week. It is August 18th. This week's code of conduct is to promote the code. We're at the end of our code items. Any thing to add on this code item, Ben Dow?
That one speaks for itself. I actually heard two guys using that one on each other this morning, so that was good.
Good. Awesome. All right, 107 days without from our last recordable injury. However, it's just been 1 day from our last first aid injury. We're pretty much seeing 1 to 2 first aid injuries a week. Again, it is in the dead of summer. A lot going on. However, let's try to mitigate our exposures, identifying those first, and then try to mitigate those. Try to utilize the hierarchy of control to try to eliminate and substitute. And also use our administrative and teaching moments. And then our last line of defense is our personal protective equipment. So again, we're dodging some bullets, but we need to try to do just a little bit better about communicating and working together to try to make sure that we don't have those little struck by, caught in between, hand placement type of injuries that we're seeing. With that said, it's been a little bit over a calendar year before we've done our hearing conservation training. So we wanted to kind of quickly highlight that before we get into some more hazardous awareness and injury prevention training. With that said, Austin, take it away.
All right, I'm going to talk about hearing conservation today. So I'll start off with some symptoms of hearing loss. Things you might notice if your hearing's been affected is muffling of speech and other sounds. You're having difficulty understanding words, especially if there's loud background noise or crowds. You're asking others to repeat what they said or speak up or speak more slowly. You're needing to turn the TV volume up or the radio. Big thing is you're withdrawing from conversations. You just can't keep up. And then altogether avoiding loud situations. So, I'm a good example of this. I have some hearing loss in my right ear, and I notice like in packed restaurants or in crowds and things like that, where I just can't focus on who's talking to me unless they're talking right to my face. So those are things to look out for. So the permissible noise exposure is 85 decibels for 8 hours. And then as you can see, every 3 decibels, it cuts that time in half. So, when it goes up to 88, 4 hours. 100 decibels, only 15 minutes. So, it goes up exponentially as things get just a bit louder. These are some examples. Jackhammer, 100 decibels. A tamper, 94. Dozer, 85. Driving piles, 95 to 100. So, you definitely want to look out for that. You can get an easy little noise monitor app on your phone that will tell you the decibel rating. It's not super precise, but it's good enough to give you a small idea. And we can also come down and we have a decibel monitor. We can monitor what the noise is on the site for over a couple hours or something like that. So also here I've got the F-35 fighter jets. We've all heard them fly over. So when you're right next to those are 115 decibels. So you can stand that for about 30 seconds before you need hearing protection. So with that, it's kinda, you have to wear it no matter what. So prevention, eliminate or reduce the noise level. Try to surround the source with something that'll muffle the noise. Distance yourself. Put some distance between yourself and the noise. If you got a generator running all day, put it behind a job trailer or something like that. Don't have it right, line of sight where you can hear it all day long. When you can't eliminate the noise, use hearing protection, earmuffs, your little foam earbuds, things like that. And then just limit your time around the noise. So, if that equipment doesn't have to be running all the time, turn that off when you don't need it. Things like that. And it's good to remember, if you need to elevate your voice to speak to the person next to you, is good practice to be wearing hearing protection. It's probably too loud. So, does anyone else have any comments?
I got a couple of them. Number one, Champlain Medical does have a sound booth. So, and if you're in the wellness program, which when I joined, I actually went in the sound booth, and they can test and see the responsiveness to when you hear something, you push a little button. And I found out that I had some frequencies in my left ear that were bad that I didn't even know about. And so that's available to everyone who's in the wellness program to go over and get your hearing checked. The other thing is that with over the years, a lot of the guys that have been in this business a long time, they start losing their hearing. And then I used to notice that they wouldn't wear their earmuffs, or they wouldn't use their hearing protection because they weren't as bothered by the sound. But the longitudinal waves that sound produces still vibrates and does damage to your eardrum, even if you can't hear it. So that makes it even worse for people that don't wear the earmuffs because they don't think they have to, because it's not really as distracting. They can do more damage, and it makes the problem worse. So it's just the habit is, if I'm doing something at home, skill saw, drilling, I just put them on almost every time. And I have to fight my wife to put them on. She said, I don't need them. I said, put them on, because we're going to be doing this for like an hour. So it's a habit thing too. So that's all I had.
Yeah, and just to jump in also on the wellness that you're talking about, it's also, our program is our DOT physicals. And one of the reasons why we do those DOT physicals is to be in line with the standard of our hearing conservation set forth by OSHA. So that's why we also do the DOT physicals on at least annual or a biannual basis for all of our employees, to be able to kind of check the hearing and making sure we're not overexposing them to these loud decibels. So that's why we have those fit for duty physicals and DOT physicals.
And the
And if you
key,
keep earplug,
go ahead, Tommy.
I was just gonna say the key is to keep the earplugs in your pocket too, because if you have to walk to the job trailer, you're a lot less likely to use them. So if you already have them in your pocket, you notice something loud, you can just pull them out and wear them. And convenience is the key to using them.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's all about having them handy when you need them. Okay, I will take over the screen. Okay, you see my screen?
Got it.
Okay, good. Okay, for announcements, just continuing with this one, there are new vehicle and equipment fuel cards, and check with Sarah to exchange them with your old cards. And the current ones expire in September, so don't get stuck without a fuel card. And then the holiday premium care, or the healthcare premium holiday for 2023 is continuing, and we are getting close to the end, so enjoy it. The next thing I have here is that ECI received a safety recognition at the National Contractors Insurance Conference in August, this just last week, at our meeting in Prague, the Czech Republic. And we get a certificate and recognized by our group. So since 2019, ECI has been a member of NCI, a contractor type captive insurance company for workers' comp, auto, and general liability. Captives are a co-op type of business insurance, where each member is a shareholder of the insurance company. The top focus of NCI, which is a 260-member organization, is employee safety. And other local Vermont companies in NCI include FR Lafayette, Omega Electric, and Vermont Mechanical. So we got some pretty good representation from Vermont companies in our group. Like many captives, NCI is domiciled in the Cayman Islands and may not have shareholder meetings in the U.S. per the Cayman Island regulations. That's why we meet these exotic places. This was an extra exotic one. We meet twice a year, and this summer was in Prague to celebrate the NCI's 25th anniversary. And Prague is an old and historic Central European city known for its castles, architecture, history, food, and culture, and more food and more food, it seems. So the award was given to the top 10% of risk control scores. So we were pretty excited to see that. For new employees, we have a Ben Calaro, if I pronounce that right, from the concrete division, assigned to the concrete division, and a Freeman Patton on the directional drilling crew. So welcome, guys. I've got this posted again. There's a little bit of a change to this free opioid drug help kit. We located it at the side door of the operations building, and now another setup at the north entrance to the safety office. So it's a stairway entrance on the north side of the building. So if you know someone who needs support, these could be life-saving, actually. I have the link to the primary care wellness program there. And this week for the profile project, we're going to cover the Swampscott River Sewer Siphon Upgrade Project. And that's in Exeter, New Hampshire. And Tom, you're on. You're gonna present here, or?
I'll present. If you want to scroll down, Ken, that'd be great.
Sure. I will get it started here to the top so you get a full screen. Okay.
All right, good to go. So I'm not sure, if you ever heard the phrase, if you spent a week there one afternoon, that kind of applies to this project. This has been a tough one for us, but it really showed ECI's perseverance. ECI was subcontracted by N. Granese and Sons of Salem, Mass. For this siphon sewer improvement project. The work was necessary to replace an existing siphon system that was failing and under capacity. That was a huge concern throughout. Our scope of work originally included 3 pipes, a 12-inch and 2 10-inch, across the Squamscott River by directional drilling methods in soft clay soil profile. Literally day one, when we began drilling, we encountered bedrock. We relocated I think about 100 feet and hit it again. So rock could not be avoided, even with the changes that's mentioned here. The changed subsurface conditions required a significant change to our scope and schedule due to just not the rock conditions, but extra complexity of drilling through soft clay with rock tooling to reach the bedrock. We also encountered a section of loose gravel that created a lot of hole stability during the pulling in process. So, another significant challenge for the project was the concern for protecting the river, maintaining good public access to the Riverside Park, and to prevent impact to the recreational users of the river. The Riverside Park is kind of like our Burlington's waterfront. It is just busy with pedestrians, and it really created a lot of challenges. Technologies and other resources used: mud motor for drilling through the rock and clay with a carbide tricone roller bit, reaming with 12 and 18-inch hole openers with carbide cones, and hole swabbing with a barrel reamer at the end. The barrel reamer we brought in to deal with that loose gravel. Gyroscope for steering was used. We worked with North American Wireline. They've worked with us in the past on wireline projects. With the gyroscope technology is here to stay for sure. It's taking over the wirelines portion. So I think we'll see more of that. And this was our first time using gyroscope. We had a full-time mud technician consultant that was on the request of the project owner. And he really did a nice job. And I think our folks learned even more about mud. So that proved to be positive. Okay, Ken, you want to scroll up some more?
Sure. Yep.
There we go. Okay, the first pipe was completed Tuesday of this week, which depleted the town's budget. The town also on Tuesday approved, they had a special town vote, approved additional budget to install a second pipe, which was deemed sufficient for the modified project criteria, and that's barely going to get them by. Again, initially it was going to be 3 pipes, but switching to 2 12s is going to get them over the hump and work within their budget. So we'll be back in December, after December 1st, thereabouts, to begin the next pipe. This shows the profile by design. You want to scroll down some more, Ken?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. So here we're looking at, we refer to this project as the Swayze side and the mill side for the referencing of these pictures. The Swayze side is where the sewer treatment plant was, and you're looking over to the Swayze side now. We had our reclaimer set up there. That was where we did our pilot drill, came across. And the next picture down shows the mill side, and I think we ended up 57. This shot was a little bit under 900 feet, but looking across there, it sure looks like a lot further. But it's about 900 feet to get across. And again, this is the area we drilled to and ultimately pulled from. Okay. We used our JT100 drill for the pilot out, and then we used both the JT100 and AT100 working together, trailing rods when we increased the hole size. Yep.
We were backed right up to the wastewater plant. And it was like
absolutely
no room to work.
None whatsoever. One of the considerations we had early on was to bring in the bigger blue drill to help us with some portion. The site wouldn't take it. So it's tight, as Ken mentioned, but this shows the sewer treatment plant and our locating trailer. Okay. There's our mud truck, mixing mud. That machine got a lot of work this time around for sure. Drilling fluid was batched, mixed, and recycled through our Tulsa rig, which also provided high pump capacity for the mud motor, which uses a lot. Here shows the reclaimer with the shakers, and I think the next picture shows it, the solids coming out. You see they get less solid as you go. It goes through 3 series of shakers to get rid of all the solids, and then we recycle the mud and continue.
There's the pump.
There's the pump and the power station.
Yeah, there's 2. You can't see both of them. There's 2 very large diesel engines. There's one cat in this face, or I think it's cat. There's another one on the other side.
Yeah, it's a massive machine for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Heavy.
Pulls hard.
Yeah, yes, it does. I think gyro technology we use for steering, as I mentioned earlier. This involves specialty downhole equipment that is wire backed to the electronics and display equipment. Wire is added to and spliced to each drill rod as the borehole is advanced. The data is used to verify line and grade and provides a digital as-built record. Sometimes when we go across water, we couldn't locate by land here or do a walkover. The soils were that soft on the river's edges. Carter would have sunk to out of sight walking on that. And we couldn't get a traditional wire across because the Coast Guard wouldn't allow it. So this drove us to this technology, it's driven by 3 different softwares, provides a massive amount of data to include downhole pressures, which was important for the DES here to at least know we were trying to mitigate fluid release as best as we possibly could. But it is amazingly accurate. And this is Greg here splicing together at every joint. You see the joints here in the middle. He's splicing together the wire that goes through the drill steel. So when we make that connection, we also have shrink tubing we put on top of that to avoid any conductivity within the rods.
Okay. This is the back end.
Yep, this is the back end where we're feeding the wire down through the drill steel. So this will be on the tail end of the drill, correct?
Right. This is, the drill steel is rotating, obviously, just like, and the wire is inside. So this is just it allows that wire conductivity to continue through that rotation without twisting the wire off.
Right, and that's the reason we had to use we chose to use the AT100, which probably most times would be our preferred drill. It's got a drill steel inside of the steel, so it doesn't allow for the wire. So it pushed us to the JT. Right. Here's the profile. So the gyro technology allowed us to put together a profile and an as-built, degree of inclination going in and exiting, depth at bottom of river. So this data was important for permitting purposes. But it also was great to have it in advance because we're watching the screen and seeing how we're progressing along the way.
A lot of fine steering adjustments were allowed, and
Yes.
they held a really good line.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, vertically and horizontally as well. So
Yeah.
this is Mike Williams, our mud technician. He came out of Houston for us. And he was an absolute gentleman. He was great to work with and did a super job with ECI, with our client and Grenice, and certainly with the town and with Wright Pierce. And we provided daily logs every day, bore log, I mean his mud measuring, and also all of our pressure gauges on both drills. A lot of monitoring here. This picture on the left and the bottom here, this is the actual pilot coming out. That was the first stage of success. Then after that, of course, we went to the 12 and 18-inch ream, and then on the right-hand side, you see the barrel reamer. So we drilled an 18-inch rock hole. That section of gravel that kept collapsing, we brought this barrel reamer in to recompact that gravel and kind of make a path for the pipe to follow. This barrel ream is 14-inch in diameter.
There's a
This is a story in itself. So when we tried to pull in the first time, we ran into that gravel layer, got compacted. This steel casing you're seeing here's a 24-inch steel casing. We drove down to the rock as a conductor barrel, hoping to push back out. You see the reamer's broken off here. So this is the first one. The second one we were able to pull out. This is the first one. So where we had a break off, we wanted to push through the steel casing. That's a 24-inch casing and an 18-inch reamer, and the soft clays dropped it below the casing. This was a bit of a risky effort, or everybody knew that this may or may not work, but it was our next best step. And ultimately, when we missed it, it followed the boreholes substantially and got us to a point of success, honestly. So we were able to take from this point, we pulled in the pipe eventually. Okay. And this next picture is the pipe going in. This will be on the mill side. No, this is on the, this is our first attempt. We ultimately brought this pipe to the mill side. This was the pull that we tried from the Swayze side where we got stuck, but we're able to back out. And for the drillers, there's nothing more satisfying than seeing the pipe pulled back to ream. So this everybody was pretty pleased at this point. But this gentleman here to the right, he's the city engineer, Paul. He was an advocate and an ally throughout. It was a very calming force. This is the public works director here, and really. As much as those guys may be smiling, our crew certainly was, and all the ECI people who worked on this, kudos, just an unbelievable effort to get to this point. So that this right here shows this is the barrel reamer right close to the drill. We fabricated a piece of steel to protect our swivel that goes between the barrel reamer and the casing, and the HDPE pipe, and then of course the HDPE pipe followed. And at the end of that day, that pipe was pressure tested and in good shape. So that will be connected.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we're off to the next one sometime around December.
We've got a commitment of December 1st, contingent upon availability of our steering contractor, but thereabouts, yeah.
Good. Okay.
I consulted.
Well, good job.
Yeah. So Mike Wright had a lot to do with the this whole project, huge, but that December 1st date, that was the parameter he set. It was basically anything after deer season.
Oh, okay.
We all know Mike loves his deer hunting, so.
Yeah. Well, great job, and an interesting project for sure. Some good technology we applied to this.
Absolutely.
For the project archives, and thanks, Tom, for presenting.
Yep.
For the project archives, we have a photo from 2004, the Missisquoi River waterline crossing we did up in Richford, Vermont. So it brings us back to 20 years almost. All right, thanks. Well, I'll turn it back over to Matt. Everyone out there, have a safe day.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for everybody that tuned in. If you're watching a group setting, please send me an email, text, or somehow communicate with safety so we can capture attendance. Let's be safe today. Let's have a great day.
Take care.